What's going on? Welcome back to the channel. We're back with another user upload. Today, we're going to be taking a look at all the drama, all the controversy surrounding the OpenAI's firing of Sam Altman, the CEO. And we're going to take a look at the video provided to us by CNN here, where Altman joins Microsoft. 500 plus OpenAI employees threaten to quit over his firing. Let's see what's going on here. Of course, we have to take a look at the latest propaganda. We'll go ahead and skip that.
This morning, a blockbuster shakeup in the world of artificial intelligence. Just days after he was ousted by the company he co-founded, former OpenAI CEO Sam Altman is joined.
It's important to note here that, yes, Sam Altman is definitely one of the co-founders of OpenAI, surrounded by a few others. So before we even move forward, here's a quick little screenshot of the founding members. Here's Sam Altman, CEO. We have Mira Murati, the CTO. She was actually promoted briefly to acting CEO until she sided with Altman and, of course, sided with Ilya Sutskever as well, chief data scientist and former founder of many important softwares we use today. And of course, Greg Brockman, the chairman and president, they pretty much don't do anything. So yeah, this is the founding team. They provide some money and of course, tell you what not to do. Moving forward, let's go back to the video.
Microsoft, and so is another open.
So he's going to be hired from Microsoft. It looks like now. If we were to look at how much the valuation of OpenAI was, it was valued about $80 to $90 billion. Taking a quick look at Sam Altman's net worth, we can see that they're pretty much estimating his net worth to be around $500 million to $700 million here, as a result of his entrepreneurial ventures, as well as many smart investments. Now, of course, that's not going to be liquid cash, and that's his net worth, right? That's a high estimation, pretty much times 20 of what he actually has. So he's probably, 50 to 100 million, with some more coming in with this lucrative Microsoft deal. Of course, working with Microsoft, there's been a lot of news surrounding Altman,
who helped bring ChatGPT to the world, will lead Microsoft's new advanced AI research.
So if he's going to be leading Microsoft new AI advancement, now, they haven't been talking about how much they're going to be paying him, of course. When they do these ventures, right, or these crossovers, they bring in founders and top-tier talent. They're not going to mention how much they're getting paid. Just assume it's extremely lucrative, and it's up there in the millions of dollars. Let's go ahead and continue here.
That's why I got CNN's Vanessa Yurkevich. She's here with us now. All right, Vanessa, look, there were ongoing negotiations for Altman to return as OpenAI's CEO. Then he goes to Microsoft. What's been happening here?
Now, they're going to talk about a lot what's happening, but I'm not sure what actually led to the firing of Sam Altman.
I don't think ChatGPT could have written this drama. This has been a lot in 72 hours. So the breaking news that we have now is that 500 employees from OpenAI have sent this letter to the board, which ousted Sam Altman, saying that if you do not resign, if you do not bring back Sam Altman, we will quit and we will join Sam Altman at Microsoft. 500 employees, that's most of the company.
Now, 500 employees rooting for you versus the board. Now, that is power. That is how you showcase power in an organization. That's how you root for your friend, your colleague, someone who you value, who you see helping and trying as hard as they can to improve things and improve your life as well if you're working at the company. Sometimes board members can be quite out of touch with reality. They are not in the trenches in lines of code. They're not putting in work like that. They really aren't. A lot of people in the tech industry don't really put in work like that. They're not really in the trenches doing code, doing, setting up infrastructure for entire companies. They're pretty much sitting on their asses collecting a paycheck. But anyway, that is why it's highly important to make your work known. Let's go ahead and continue here.
Yeah.
But this all goes down on Friday when OpenAI basically pushes Sam Altman out. The board saying that he's not equipped to lead the company right now. He hasn't been very transparent. Behind the scenes, though, what we know. Wanting to push AI forward, and the board who wants to kind of dial the progress of AI back. But what we know is that many employees have.
So dialing AI back pretty much means how are we going to control and profit from every aspect of this new software? Safety. There's so much talk about safety. Of course, then they will bring in the talks about the children, that you need to protect the children at all costs. The problem with that conversation is that ignores the rest of the things going on affecting, of course, the children. But that's a whole nother can of worms, and that's not media friendly. Realistically speaking, let's go ahead and hear the rest. Realistically speaking, you're going to talk about safety. We would have to talk about safety on the entire internet, right? I think for the last 40 years or 20, 30 years, it's been running fine. Society's still here, and even having a talk about AI safety when it's a large language model is quite foolish, and quite frankly, it's uneducated in many regards.
Already followed Altman, including his co-founder Greg Brockman. Ago, we heard from one of the board members who was part of that 4-person board that fired Altman, and he says he actually regrets the fact that he's created all this chaos at OpenAI. He's also one of the more than 500 people who has signed this open.
And of course, Ilya Sutskever is a board member that has put in lots and lots of work, and his track record speaks for himself.
Letter calling for the board to resign, which means including himself. This all matters because artificial intelligence is here. It is the future. There are serious conversations about whether or not it's moving too fast. Can it be weaponized? What does it mean for all of us? There's so many businesses that rely.
The question about can AI be weaponized is a question for the U.S. military, which they have been answering for the last 50 years. Let's not forget the internet was created by the U.S. Navy, and it would be safe to assume that it's maintained by the U.S. Armed Forces and will remain that way for the future, for the foreseeable future. There's nothing to worry about that the most brilliant minds in the world haven't already thought about.
Rely on ChatGPT every single day. I just want to read a quick quote from an analyst, Dan Ives, who puts this perfectly, I think. He says, in a nutshell, the JV 4-person board at OpenAI was at the kids' poker table, and they thought they won until Nadella and Microsoft took this all over in a World Series game of poker, move for the ages, with the Valley and Wall Street watching. This is going to...
And Wall Street watching with white knuckles. Of course, we're going to see Microsoft's stock go up if they're able to pull this off successfully. Now, I am not a investor. I am not giving you investing advice, especially on this channel where we're focusing on cybersecurity. But it is interesting, and you will want to watch what's going to happen as far as the stock portion goes.
who continued to unfold over today, but just so much in 72.
It really is hard to keep up. Keeps flip-flopping, and I wouldn't want to be a journalist right now. I'm glad I get to sit back and make little comments here.
Has been one of the most spectacular corporate fallouts I think I can remember, really, in terms of a board firing a CEO very suddenly, seeing the fallout from investors, but also within the company. And this is just the latest. This is a letter to the board of directors of...
Yeah, this firing was not going to go well. He is definitely a good face for the company right now. They choose CEOs that, if you look, they kind of all look the same. They go for 2 looks for CEOs, one being this, and then kind of the more corporate look, and then they go for like the Sundar Pichai kind of refined, as you can see. Steve Jobs here. It's a kind of look that they're searching for when they're looking at CEOs. Let's just keep that all in mind here. Seems like he was treated a little bit like the black sheep, but that's okay. Microsoft was there to save the day.
OpenAI. As you mentioned, over 500 employees have agreed to this. And when I say it's the letter to the board of directors, Becky, there were 6 directors as of last week. 1 was fired, Sam Altman. The other co-founder, Greg Brockman, actually resigned on the basis of this news. And a 3rd is actually signing this letter. So it's almost a letter to themselves at this stage, which means there are 3 directors that are being very much targeted by this letter. And I'll just highlight a few bits that we've had in the last hour. It says they believe the board is incapable of overseeing OpenAI. They say
the board is incapable of overseeing AI means they have more money than knowledge. This is never good. You need somebody who actually knows what's going on sitting in the boardroom.
They may choose to resign and join Microsoft with Sam Altman and Greg Brockman. Join state Sam Altman and Greg Brockman. So that is the most extraordinary laying
Looks like
down
they're going to
of
reinstate
the law
them and from
500 employees.
Looks like Microsoft's laying down the law after they, their $13 billion investment here. They are pissed. They weren't informed of what's going on. Now that is just my my humble opinion, of course.
He's the CTO and
so
a
is
board
ours.
member on there as well. So now you have to wonder, is the Microsoft move going to happen? Are we going to see a complete rejig again at the top? And are we going to see Sam Altman and Greg Brockman going back to OpenAI?
Just remind us who Sam Altman is. For those who aren't in the kind of, in the weeds of AI, they may not know who he is. This
is good that they're actually going to explain who he is. Maybe they should have done that in the beginning, but whatever.
guy is a very, very, very significant player, not just in
He's been talking about OpenAI since 2015, so quite some time here.
business, but in US and global politics these days as well.
He's become the biggest voice, really, when we talk about artificial intelligence. He's the loudest voice, at least. There are just a handful of companies really running the AI debate, I guess, in terms of a few companies that lead the way. There's Google DeepMind with Demis Hassabis, and there's Sam Altman with OpenAI, and he is the biggest voice. He's one of the co-founders of the company. There are quite a few co-founders there.
Oh yeah, this stuff takes a lot of people, a lot of hours and thousands of lines of code, millions of lines of code. But it's essentially Google search engine 2.0.
He's become very vocal and very eloquent, particularly, as you mentioned, at Senate committee hearings. In the political, and one of the big questions for all of us right on Friday was, why has he been fired from the board? And there's lots of speculation about this. From the company, we actually didn't get very much. There was something about a lack of communication with the board, but no more detail. Other people wonder whether his popularity had eclipsed the board, and therefore, frankly, they lost control of what Sam Altman wanted to do with the company.
So when you hear that, that's corporate lingo for he and a guy that had a little bit more power than him got into an argument, and that guy decided to fire him and ultimately jeopardize the success of the entire company for a personal grudge.
Or whether his part in terms of trying to commercialize the profit part of OpenAI, because it is a non-profit entity generally, whether they felt that was undermining or risking AI safety.
And you got to remember again, the whole selling point is going to be the AI safety aspect. And what about the children? Not to say that those things aren't important, but as previously mentioned, the government, the U.S. Army's got the safety part under control. And for all of us kids who, or all of us adults now who are kids and grew up on the internet, we became hackers. We became cybersecurity experts. And it's been a wonderful thing.
Where's he going?
Well, he's signed up for Microsoft, but as of the last hour, with this letter from over 500 employees demanding he goes back to OpenAI, you have to wonder, Becky. Check back next hour.
You do have to wonder. Now, of course, it's, technology is fun. AI is beautiful. But money talks, and bullshit walks 1,000 miles. So we shall see what happens. Thank you for watching the video. Like, subscribe, and comment for more.